This video is about recognizing transitions, knowing when we've reached an inflection point, and recognizing it for what it is. That we have reached a point where our current situation no longer serves us, and having the courage to go in a different direction. This situation can be in our personal lives or in our professional lives. A couple of years ago, one of my companies was invited to be part of a project for this really huge international organization. This was an organization that everyone, or practically everyone, will be excited to work with. The project started well enough. I attended the initial meetings, and because I had been in this industry for such a long time, I knew how to ask the right questions, and I knew how to give the right answers when I was asked any question. But I hated every single minute of it. This was unusual for me because every single project I've been involved in, I am usually very, very, very excited. My team members knew that something was wrong. Even I knew that something was wrong. But I couldn't put my finger on what exactly was wrong. We did the initial first 2 or 3 days, and everything seemed okay. Not perfect, but on the surface it seemed okay. Now, the second part of the project involved us traveling to a whole different part of the country, and we did. At this point, that initial feeling of trepidation that I had from the start had built up to such a point that I could barely get out of bed. So the morning we're supposed to start comes, got my team together, and we had to drive another, 100 kilometers or so to the actual location, to the actual site, 30 or so kilometers to our arrival. We had a very, very nasty accident. And when it happened, to be honest, I wasn't surprised, because all through that journey, driving to that place, all I could think of was, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. That was the overwhelming thought I had in my mind, but I kept on going anyway until we had this accident. I got out, inspected the huge damage that had been done to the car, but we weren't hurt, and we continued on to the journey. And we arrived. We started doing what we're asked to do, what we're contracted to do. Every single moment, I kept on asking myself, what exactly am I doing here? I questioned why I had taken on the project in the first place. For me, this was strange. For me to be in that mental space was really strange to me. I was really, really happy with what the project was trying to achieve, but I had absolutely no creative interest in the project itself. To tell you how bad it was, there was a meeting that was scheduled, more like a debriefing. And I totally forgot about that meeting. That was how much I just wanted to get away from that place, get away from that project. Needless to say, it was an unmitigated disaster. Yes, we were able to finish, but it wasn't one of my best work. The team knew it, I knew it, the organization that hired us knew it. I had to do a forensic audit of my professional life to find out how I had gotten to the point where I was at the time. I had to ask myself some really difficult questions. I even had to ask myself if I really wanted to know what those answers were. Because, sometimes in life we think we want to know the truth. We think we want to know what the answers are, but deep down inside we probably don't, or we're not capable at that particular time to handle what the truth was. So I really had to ask myself those questions. Do I really want to know what the truth was? In this case, I really wanted to know because I had gotten to a point that I had never been before. What I finally realized, or maybe I was finally able to admit it to myself, was that I had lost absolutely all interest in that part of my career. what I was doing at that point had run its course for me. I even realized that the environment I was in had also run its course for me. I had absolutely lost every single interest I had about what I was doing professionally and where I was. I was aching to invest my time and energies in something totally different. I was stuck in a loop that wasn't serving me anymore. Even the people I had to interact with on a professional level suddenly had no interest for me. I was not interested in networking of any kind. I had gotten to the point where even my professional colleagues, I had no interest in them. Our conversations were very, very stunted because I had absolutely no interest in what I was doing at the time. What I found out was that I was not being honest with myself. I was absolutely not honest with myself. Sometimes we forget that we are constantly evolving, that our needs, be it personal or professional, change with time. This is part of the human experience. This is part of growth. I had this raging battle inside me. I had failed to recognize that I had evolved, that my desires, my goals professionally had changed, but I held on to the old ways and the old things, and that's how I got to that point. We need to recognize when it's time to move on, both in our relationships and in our professional lives. That was what I failed to recognize at that point, that I had evolved past what I was doing at the time, that the things I was doing at that time was no longer serving me. And it's very easy for us to not recognize that. And when we do not, we're filled with deep unhappiness. And that was exactly where I was at the time. Being true to oneself is extremely important to living an authentic and fulfilling life. There is no alternative to it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.